England once crowned a teenage girl as queen and removed her from the throne before most people even learned her name. In July 1553, Lady Jane Grey became the ruler of England. She was intelligent, deeply religious, and only about 16 years old. 9 days later, she was imprisoned in the Tower of London. 7 months after that, she was executed. This is the true story of the shortest reign in English history and how politics, religion, and ambition turned a quiet scholar into a tragic queen. Lady Jane Grey was born in 1537 into the powerful Tudor bloodline. She was the great-granddaughter of King Henry VII, which made her a distant cousin to the reigning monarch, King Edward VI. Jane was known less for her ambition and more for her mind. She spoke Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. Contemporary accounts describe her as serious, devout, and uninterested in courtly luxury. In 1553, England faced a crisis. King Edward VI, the young Protestant son of Henry VIII, was dying at just 15 years old. The official line of succession named his half-sisters Mary Tudor and Elizabeth Tudor as heirs. But Mary was Catholic, and Edward, influenced by Protestant advisors, feared England would return to Catholic rule. One of those advisors was John Dudley, Duke of Northumberland, the most powerful man at court. Northumberland arranged for Lady Jane Grey to marry his son, Guildford Dudley, in May 1553. Then came a radical move. Edward VI signed a document called the Devise for the Succession, bypassing both Mary and Elizabeth. Instead, he named Lady Jane Grey as her successor, a decision historians widely agree was heavily shaped by Northumberland's political strategy. Edward died on July 6, 1553. 4 days later, on July 10th, Jane Grey was proclaimed Queen of England. According to later reports, she initially resisted the crown, saying she was not the rightful heir. But the machinery of power moved forward without her consent. For 9 days, Jane was queen in name. Yet outside London, support for Mary Tudor grew rapidly. Mary gathered allies, declared herself the legitimate monarch, and attracted both nobles and ordinary people to her cause. The English political tide shifted almost overnight. On July 19, 1553, the Privy Council abandoned Jane and proclaimed Mary I as Queen. Church bells rang across London, not for Jane, but for Mary. Jane Grey was arrested and taken to the Tower of London, the same fortress where she had briefly resided as a crowned monarch. Her reign had lasted 9 days. At first, Jane Grey was not immediately executed. Queen Mary I initially showed hesitation. Some historical records suggest Mary viewed Jane as a pawn rather than a true rival, a teenager used by powerful men. Jane remained imprisoned while England adjusted to Mary's Catholic rule. Then came another turning point. In early 1554, a rebellion broke out against Mary's planned marriage to Philip of Spain. This uprising, known as Wyatt's Rebellion, sought to replace Mary with a Protestant alternative, and Jane's name resurfaced as a potential figurehead. Even though Jane herself took no active role, her existence became dangerous. For Mary, leaving Jane alive meant leaving a symbol for future rebellions. On February 12, 1554, Lady Jane Grey was executed at the Tower of London. She was likely 17 years old. Eyewitness accounts describe her calm composure on the scaffold. She reportedly declared that she died a Christian woman and asked forgiveness for any wrongs she had committed, a speech preserved in several contemporary sources. Her husband, Guildford Dudley, was executed earlier the same day. And here lies the irony of her story. Lady Jane Grey never fought for the throne. She never led an army. She never even ruled in practice. Yet history remembers her as the 9 Days Queen. Her brief reign reveals a harsh truth about Tudor politics. In a world ruled by dynastic ambition, legitimacy could change overnight, and even a reluctant teenager could become the center of a national crisis. Today, historians debate whether Jane was a victim, a political tool, or an unwilling participant in a power struggle shaped by religion and fear. What remains certain is this: she became queen because others needed her to be, and she died because others feared what she represented. 9 days on the throne, a lifetime defined by a crown she never truly wanted, and in the end, the shortest reign in English history became one of its most haunting reminders that power in the Tudor age was rarely about the person wearing the crown, but about the forces surrounding it.